Imagine standing at the edge of your own potential, not as someone waiting for permission, but as the one who decides. Most people drift through their days, swayed by moods, distracted by noise, hoping for motivation to strike like lightning. But greatness doesn't wait for chance. It is shaped by those who choose discipline over impulse, vision over distraction, and clarity over chaos. Think of history's giants. Leonardo da Vinci sketching endlessly when the world was still asleep, Marie Curie working tirelessly in her lab with no applause, Nelson Mandela holding his inner strength through decades of silence. None of them waited for the right feeling. They acted first, and through action, courage and conviction followed. You see, emotions are like shifting winds. One morning you wake up inspired. The next you feel heavy and restless. If you tie your future to moods, you give away your power to something unstable. True freedom begins when you realize this. You are not your emotions. You are the one who decides what to do with them. Anger, doubt, fear, hesitation. They are not enemies, they are signals. They can warn you, they can fuel you, but only if you lead them. Left untrained, they take the wheel and drive you in circles. Directed with purpose, they become the energy that carries you forward. Think of fire. It can burn down a home, or it can keep a family warm through the night. The difference lies not in the fire itself, but in how it's used. The same is true for your emotions. Left unchecked, they sabotage your peace. Mastered with intention, they sharpen your focus and make you unstoppable. But here's the truth. Strength doesn't come from suppressing what you feel. It comes from transforming it. Suppression buries energy that eventually erupts. Transformation channels that energy into movement, growth, and vision. Picture yourself as the captain of a ship. The ocean is life, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy. The waves are emotions, rising and falling beyond your control. You cannot stop the sea from moving, but you can command your vessel. That's what inner discipline looks like. The storm may rage, but you steer forward with steady hands. Pause and reflect on this. How often have you reacted instantly, only to regret it moments later? A harsh word spoken too quickly, a decision made in impatience, a door closed because of pride. Reaction is easy. It takes no training. It's the default. But response, the power to pause, breathe, and choose wisely, that is mastery. That is where true influence lives. Great leaders, from Abraham Lincoln to Mother Teresa, understood this truth. They didn't let pressure hijack their clarity. They paused. They breathed. They chose their words with care. And because of that, they shaped history not through noise, but through presence. Silence, when guided by wisdom, is not weakness. It's strength refined. A calm voice in conflict changes the atmosphere more than shouting ever could. A composed spirit in chaos commands respect without demanding it. Your greatest victories will not come from explosive reactions, but from measured responses, from that quiet pause between trigger and decision. That space is sacred. In it, you design your future. So I ask you now, will you let the tides of emotion toss you endlessly? Or will you become the captain who sails with direction, no matter the weather? Because here's the secret. Stability isn't a gift reserved for a lucky few. It is a habit, a practice, a choice repeated until it becomes who you are. Like a musician who trains scales until music flows effortlessly, you must train your calm until it becomes natural, even under pressure. Begin simply. In moments of stress, breathe deeper than usual. When anger rises, wait before speaking. When fear whispers, you're not ready, take one small action anyway. Every pause, every choice, every act of clarity builds your foundation. Brick by brick, you create a fortress inside your mind, one no storm can shake. Life is not about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about becoming strong enough to thrive in imperfect ones. The world will test you with delays, criticism, misunderstandings, and endless noise. But in every test lies the same question. Will you react impulsively, or will you respond with purpose? Choose purpose. Choose clarity. Choose to be the one who leads yourself, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Because when you govern your emotions, you no longer live as a passenger of chance. You live as the author of your destiny. Every day you wake up, life hands you a decision. Will you rise with discipline or drift with emotion? Most people wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait for motivation. They wait for perfect conditions. But waiting is the greatest trap. Readiness is not found before action. Readiness is created through action. Think of Thomas Edison, failing hundreds of times before perfecting the light bulb. He didn't wait to feel certain. He moved, he experimented, he failed forward, and through that confidence grew. Or think of Serena Williams, showing up to the court day after day, not because every morning she felt inspired, but because commitment outweighed mood. That is the truth about greatness. It is not built on fleeting feelings. It is built on unwavering consistency. Discipline is freedom in its purest form. Many mistake freedom as doing whatever you feel like, sleeping in, giving up when it's hard, chasing every impulse. But that is not freedom. That is captivity disguised as choice. Real freedom is the ability to move forward regardless of how you feel, to keep your word to yourself when no one is watching, to choose principle over mood. Imagine a farmer who only plants seeds on sunny days. His harvest would fail. Nature rewards those who work regardless of the weather, and life is no different. The future belongs to those who show up even on the cloudy days, even when inspiration is nowhere in sight. So, how do you build this kind of resilience? You train it like a muscle. Small daily habits stack into unshakable stability. Get up on time. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Speak truth, even when silence would be easier. These actions may feel small in the moment, but they compound into extraordinary power. Think of a craftsman sharpening his blade each morning. He doesn't wait to feel like it. He sharpens because one day that blade might be the difference between failure and survival. That's how you must treat your mind, your habits, your discipline. You sharpen daily, not for applause, but for the day it matters most. And here is the remarkable shift. Once you stop waiting for motivation and start moving regardless, motivation begins to meet you on the path. Confidence grows not before the act, but because of the act. Energy rises not while waiting, but while doing. You realize that motion itself is the spark. Fear whispers, "You're not ready." Doubt says, "Maybe later." But each time you move forward anyway, those voices weaken. You teach your mind that you are stronger than your hesitation, and soon, hesitation no longer controls you. You control it. This is why patience becomes such a weapon. The modern world celebrates speed, quick money, quick fame, quick wins. But patience is the companion of true confidence. The ability to wait, to hold your ground, to let the right moment ripen. That is power. Picture a hunter in the forest. He hears a rustle. His hand grips the bough. The impatient hunter fires too soon and misses. The wise hunter waits, still, steady, allowing the moment to mature, and when he releases, the shot is clean. That is the difference between impulse and mastery. Your timing will shape your destiny more than your speed. Acting out of desperation leaks power. Acting with clarity and patience builds it. But don't mistake patience for passivity. It is not sitting idle, it is standing ready. It is preparation in silence. It is the quiet gathering of strength that turns into decisive action when the time arrives. Great builders, athletes, and leaders understand this rhythm. The rhythm of action balanced with waiting, of intensity balanced with stillness. They do not panic when results don't come overnight. They trust the process. They trust that small, daily bricks build unshakable fortresses. And you must do the same. Anchor yourself not in moods, but in standards, not in feelings, but in principles. Create rituals so strong that even on your weakest days, they carry you forward. Because one truth will never change. Life will not always feel easy. There will be mornings when you wake up tired, days when criticism cuts deep, moments when progress feels invisible. But those who endure, those who move anyway, those are the ones who rise. So stop waiting. Stop hoping for perfect timing. Stop looking for a spark. You are the spark. Your action lights the fire. Your commitment shapes the path. And every step you take, even the smallest one, strengthens the foundation of who you are becoming. You are not built to be pushed like a wheelbarrow. You are built to push yourself. And once you realize that, once you accept that discipline is your truest freedom, you become untouchable. Every storm in life asks you the same question. Will you be shaken, or will you stand firm? Most people wait until trouble arrives before they try to summon strength. But discipline cannot be improvised in the middle of chaos. It is built long before. Just as an architect designs a bridge to withstand storms before the first cloud appears, you must build your inner foundation in times of calm. Think of a sailor. He doesn't wait for towering waves to learn how to steer. He studies maps, memorizes the stars, trains his reflexes on peaceful waters. So when the storm inevitably comes, and it always comes, he is not guessing. He is ready. His training takes over. He navigates with calm precision while others panic. Life is no different. Crisis will come, disappointment, criticism, loss, uncertainty. None of us escape that. But whether it breaks you or builds you depends on what you practiced beforehand. If you have prepared your mind, no storm can steal your balance. Preparation is not glamorous. It is the daily reading, the quiet journaling, the silent moments of reflection. It is practicing patience on easy days so that when hard days come, you already know the language of calm. These small acts may seem insignificant, but when pressure rises, they become everything. Strength is not born in chaos. It is revealed there. And those who collapse often blame the storm. But storms don't create weakness. They expose it. The real question is, have you trained for the test, or have you been waiting for life to stay easy? Here is the paradox. Emotions are the least reliable in the moments we need clarity most. Fear clouds judgment. Anger narrows vision. Panic blinds perspective. But discipline, structure, routine, practiced calm, that becomes the compass in confusion. When everyone else reacts, you respond. When others drown in noise, you breathe in stillness. That is the advantage of preparation. Picture a general in battle. Bullets fly, soldiers panic, chaos reigns. The untrained leader screams, rushes, reacts, and loses both men and ground. But the disciplined commander stands tall. He breathes. He waits. Then he speaks slowly, decisively. His clarity cuts through the noise. His steadiness becomes a lighthouse. And the army follows. That is what you must become, a lighthouse in your own storm. Not perfect, not unfeeling, but unshakable. And here is another truth. Your strength is not tested when things are easy, but when they are unfair, exhausting, and unpredictable. Anyone can stay calm when the sun is shining. The rare few are those who stay calm when the thunder rolls. So, how do you reach that level? You practice. Every day. When the internet is slow, instead of snapping, you breathe. When traffic delays you, instead of cursing, you pause. When someone cuts you off with harsh words, instead of flaring up, you respond with composure. These are not small things. These are daily rehearsals for greatness. You cannot wait for the battlefield to sharpen your sword. You must sharpen it every day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially then. And yet, Let me tell you something powerful. You will fail sometimes. You will lose your temper. You will act out of fear. You will make mistakes. That is part of the process. Mastery is not perfection. Mastery is recovery. Think of an athlete. He doesn't become world-class by never missing a shot. He becomes world-class by missing, adjusting, and trying again, over and over, until precision becomes second nature. It is the same with emotional discipline. You will stumble. You will fall. But every time you pause after the fall, reflect on what triggered you, and adjust your approach, you build strength. Failure is not a verdict. It is feedback. So do not punish yourself for imperfection. Learn from it. Adjust. Rise stronger. That is how resilience is built. Now ask yourself, when life tests you next, when the delay comes, when the insult arrives, when the unexpected strikes, will you react or will you respond? Response is power. Response is strategy. Response is self-leadership in motion. And here is where it gets extraordinary. Once you master response, you stop being controlled by the world around you. No insult can steal your peace. No critic can hijack your focus. No storm can drown your vision. Because your power no longer depends on what happens outside. It comes from within. That is freedom. That is discipline. That is leadership over self. So begin today. Train in the quiet hours. Practice in the small tests. Build rituals that anchor you. Because when the storm finally comes, not if, but when, you will not be shaken. You will stand tall, eyes steady, hands firm on the wheel. And others will look to you, not because you shouted louder, but because you remained calm when it mattered most. There is a rare kind of strength that doesn't need to shout. It doesn't flare up when provoked. It doesn't bend when criticized. That strength is calmness under pressure. Most people believe that to be strong is to be loud, to dominate every room with force. But true authority is quiet. It is the stillness that cannot be shaken. Think of Mahatma Gandhi, a man who moved nations not with rage, but with unshakable composure. Or Rosa Parks, who shifted the course of history not by shouting, but by simply refusing to move. Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, and the world leans in. Here's the secret. Calmness is magnetic. In a world full of noise, the one who remains steady instantly commands respect. When your tone stays even, when your presence stays grounded, people listen. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. But calmness is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is focus. It is control. It is choosing not to give your energy away to every insult, every rumor, every distraction. The moment you become offended, you hand over your peace. The moment you react blindly, you give away your power. But the man or woman who refuses to be baited, they become untouchable. Think of two people in conflict. One raises his voice, waving hands, desperate to be heard. The other remains composed, speaking slowly, with clarity. Who holds the room? Who wins respect? Always the one who does not flinch. Because calmness signals confidence. It says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it to you. And this calmness is something you can practice every day. When someone interrupts you, choose patience. When someone doubts you, choose clarity instead of defense. When someone mocks you, choose silence instead of reaction. This silence is not surrender. It is strategy. Silence is underestimated power. It forces others to reveal themselves, while you reveal nothing. It conserves your energy, while others waste theirs. And when you finally choose to speak, your words land with precision, because they are rare, deliberate, and measured. Leaders know this. They don't rush to fill every silence. They don't scramble to correct every critic. They know that presence speaks louder than volume. That restraint builds more respect than aggression ever could. So practice it. In conversations, lower your voice instead of raising it. In arguments, ask questions instead of shouting. In moments of offense, let your work, not your words, defend you. The world is full of people eager to react. Be the one who responds. Calmness is not natural at first. You will feel the heat rise when provoked. You will feel the sting when insulted. But with practice, you will build the strength to pause, breathe, and choose differently. And every time you do, you reinforce your foundation. Imagine carrying a cup of water through a burning maze. If you panic and run, you spill everything. If you move slowly, carefully, you preserve what matters most. That cup is your peace. The fire is life. Your calmness is what protects the water. This is not about denying what you feel. It's about guiding it. You will still feel anger, but you will shape it into energy for growth. You will still feel fear, but you will turn it into courage. You will still feel frustration, but you will channel it into focus. That is mastery, not numbness, not apathy, but transformation. Think of a blacksmith at his forge. He doesn't fear the flame. He uses it. He doesn't let the fire run wild and destroy. He directs it until it forges steel. Your emotions are the same. Left wild, they burn everything. Controlled, they build the edge that makes you unstoppable. Here's the choice you face. Will you continue giving your peace away to anyone who presses your buttons? Or will you learn to hold your frame? Standing tall, unshaken, focused on the bigger mission? The critics will always be there. The noise will never stop. But your calmness can become your shield, your fortress, your weapon. And when others lose themselves in reaction, you will remain steady. And that steadiness will make you the one people trust, the one people follow. Because in the end, it's not the loudest voice that changes the world. It's the clearest one. It's the voice spoken with calm conviction, carrying weight because it doesn't compete with noise. So choose calm. Choose silence when others choose shouting. Choose clarity when others choose chaos. And watch as the world begins to listen, not because you demanded attention, but because you embodied authority. There is a hidden doorway to freedom that most people never open. They believe freedom means doing whatever they feel like in the moment, indulging in every craving, abandoning discipline whenever it gets hard, letting emotions dictate decisions. But that is not freedom. That is slavery disguised as choice. True freedom is built on self-command. It is the ability to follow through on what you decided long before your mood tried to interfere. It is the power to act from principle, not impulse. It is the strength to stay aligned with your highest vision, even when temporary feelings push you in another direction. Think of Michael Jordan training relentlessly even when his body was exhausted. Think of Oprah Winfrey continuing to show up with excellence, even when criticism surrounded her. They did not wait for perfect conditions. They moved according to standard, not according to mood. And because of that, they created legacies that outlast feelings, outlast setbacks, outlast critics. Every day, life presents you with the same question. Will you let emotions control you, or will you control yourself? If you act only when you feel like it, you become unpredictable. Enemies, competitors, even circumstances can manipulate you because they know exactly how to push your buttons. But when you act with discipline, when you choose calm, clarity, and principle, you become untouchable. No one can bait you into chaos. No one can shake you from your mission. And here is the beauty. This kind of discipline doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being ruled by those feelings. You still feel the fear, but you move anyway. You still feel the anger, but you channel it into action, not destruction. You still feel the doubt, but you keep showing up with faith. That is true strength, not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. Think of emotions as wild horses. Left untrained, they run in every direction, dragging you wherever they please. But when you train them, when you guide them, those same horses can carry you farther and faster than you ever imagined. Your emotions are energy. The question is whether you waste them or wield them. So, how do you train them? Through daily discipline, through small decisions. When you are irritated, choose patience. When you are tired, choose posture and presence. When you are discouraged, choose to speak strength into yourself. These choices may seem small, but together they build the fortress of emotional discipline that no storm can shake. Here's the truth. The world does not need more people who react to everything. It needs people who respond with wisdom, who remain centered when everything else shakes, who act not because of temporary moods, but because of timeless principles. Picture a tightrope walker crossing high above a roaring crowd. Below, people cheer, boo, mock, and distract. If he looks down, if he reacts to every voice, he falls. His survival depends on keeping his eyes forward, his balance steady, his focus unbroken. That is life. You cannot afford to give your stability to the noise below. Your balance must be yours and yours alone. Do not give your peace away so cheaply, not to insults, not to doubt, not to critics who haven't walked your path. Your calmness is your power. Protect it, guard it like treasure, because when you remain steady, you are not only unshaken, you are also respected. People trust the one who cannot be provoked, the one who cannot be manipulated by every passing mood. And yet, let's be honest, you will slip. You will have moments where you react too quickly, where anger overtakes patience, where fear overtakes faith. But do not confuse this with failure. Mastery is not about never falling. Mastery is about recovering faster, learning from the stumble, and rising stronger. Think of a boxer knocked to the ground. The crowd gasps. His opponent gloats. But the boxer doesn't stay down. He studies what mistake he made. He analyzes what punch slipped through. He rises, adjusts, and fights smarter next round. That is how mastery is built. Not through perfection, but through persistence. Your life will be the same. You will fall, but every fall is a lesson. Every stumble is a chance to grow stronger. Every mistake is a mirror showing you what needs more training. So ask yourself, are you willing to become that kind of person? The one who cannot be controlled by moods, the one who cannot be shaken by noise, the one who keeps showing up, not because it feels easy, but because it is right, because that is where greatness lives, not in temporary feelings, but in timeless discipline, not in bursts of emotion, but in steady choices, not in waiting for freedom, but in creating it. You already hold the key. It is the decision every day to lead yourself instead of being led by emotion, to rise instead of react, to stay calm instead of being pulled into chaos. That is freedom. That is leadership. That is power. At the core of all growth lies a simple truth. Your emotions are not your enemy, and your feelings are not your chains. They are tools, powerful and raw, waiting for your command. The challenge is not to eliminate them, but to guide them, to transform them, to lead them instead of obeying them. Too many believe strength means never shaking, never crying, never feeling pain. But that is not strength. That is fear pretending to be control. Real strength is different. Real strength is being able to feel everything fully, without letting any of it master you. Think of Martin Luther King Jr. His heart was heavy with struggle, yet he transformed pain into vision and gave words that still move generations. Or think of Beethoven, who composed masterpieces while carrying deafness inside his world of silence. Neither denied their emotions. They channeled them into greatness. Your sadness can become art. Your frustration can become fuel. Your fear can become courage. Every emotion contains energy. The question is whether you waste it in reaction or wield it in creation.